Here's how I would lose 10 kilograms in 6 months and make sure I don't put the weight back on. Losing weight is not the hard part, keeping it off is. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you lose weight and manage to keep it off long term. My name is Dr. Umair, I'm a medical doctor, and over the years, I've been helping people overcome their health issues so that they can go on to live healthy lives, build strong bodies, and in turn, increase their longevity. Now, I've worked with so many people who struggle to lose weight. The thing is, losing weight is not the hard part, keeping it off long term is. Most people actually manage to lose the weight. Some studies show that within 2 years, more than half of lost weight is regained, and within 5 years, more than 80% is regained. But to be honest, from my experience, for a lot of people, it's a lot sooner than that. To go through that dieting, exercising, calorie restriction, eating foods that you don't want, and missing out on the foods that you do enjoy, only to put the weight back on. If this sounds like you, this video will help. So from my years of helping people with this very problem, these are the 5 things that I would focus on to achieve long-term sustained weight loss. So number 1, get enough sleep. The first thing I would look at is how many hours of sleep am I getting every night on average. And the keyword here is average because realistically it's very difficult to get exactly the same number of hours every single night. For example, some of you might have small children, some of you might be doing shift work, and for one reason or the other, everyone will have some days where their sleep is disturbed. And so the key really is, on average, how is your sleep? So most people will require somewhere between 7 and 8 hours for normal daily functioning and also to allow their body enough time to recover and reset, ready for the next day. Sleep deprivation has actually been linked to weight gain through a number of different ways. For example, it causes hormonal imbalances, which causes increased cravings and an affinity for sort of high calorie foods or calorie dense foods, a reduced metabolism, meaning it's harder for you to in turn burn those calories, and decreased physical activity. So due to feeling tired all the time, it decreases your willpower to actually get up and do the exercise that you schedule for yourself. And probably the most damaging thing about poor sleep or not sleeping enough is an increase in visceral fat. Now, visceral fat has been directly linked to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes over the years. So literally, by you not sleeping properly, you are increasing the risk of having heart attacks and strokes. Just look at what some of the best athletes in the world do when it comes to their sleep.
Now, for me, probably sleep is the most important tool that I have because it's the only moment at the day that you can recover and settle everything.
Between trainings, you need recovery. What is this recovery? A lot of people don't understand what is this recovery. A lot of people call it like massage, straight, supplements. Like for me, recovery is sleep.
Sleep,
Yeah, most important things.
The truth is, proper sleep is one of the most powerful tools that you have to reset your body and allow it to improve each day. Number 2, increase protein intake. So the second thing I would look at is increasing my protein intake. And you might have heard of people who go on to protein-only diets or a high-protein diet. They work. And the reason I know that is because I've seen it firsthand with a lot of the people I've worked with who just purely go on protein-only diets and manage to lose a significant amount of weight. So the way it works is it increases satiety, so you feel less hungry, and it reduces cravings as well. So it also allows you to preserve muscle mass. And this is something I'll talk about later, but an increased amount of lean muscle means you're burning more calories at rest. And finally, it has a greater thermic effect when it comes to metabolism. So your body burns more calories trying to break down and digest protein when compared to fats and carbohydrates. By simply eating protein and digesting it, even that itself will help burn calories and increase your basal metabolic rate. So someone I actually know managed to go from 110 kilograms to 87 kilograms in the space of 9 months by purely increasing their protein intake. The issue was, at month number 8, they said, okay, I'm going to cut back on my protein intake and try to have more of a normal diet. And they ended up putting all the weight back on in the next 9 months. The issue was that his level of protein intake was not sustainable, and therefore his weight loss was also not sustainable. However, the good news is that there is a way of doing this where you can sustain it long term. Now, what you want to be doing is you want to get at least 30 to 40% of your daily recommended calories from protein alone. Alternatively, you can aim for anywhere between 1.6 grams to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. So for example, if I weighed 70 kilograms, I'll be aiming for, if I was aiming for that 1.6 grams per kilograms, I'll be looking at somewhere like 112 grams of protein per day. And if you can aim for this protein intake, then this will be more sustainable. You'll be able to keep it up long term, and it will help with weight loss and muscle retention. And again, remember, we're not robots. Some days, for example, you might end up having less protein. Some days you might have a little bit more. It's about average. On average, what is your protein intake? So always remember that word, on average. Number 3, increase your steps. So increasing your daily step count is one of the easiest ways to lose weight. The reason is because you can just incorporate it into your daily routine without you having to think about it too much. Walking at a more of a brisk pace is actually a form of cardiovascular exercise. It increases your heart rate just enough so your body is actually burning fat. It's also great for improving your mental health and de-stressing. So for example, if you've had a difficult day in the office, or you've had a stressful day at home, just taking a few minutes to go outside, let off steam, go for a walk, come back feeling refreshed. Now, most people can be divided into 4 distinct categories when it comes to how many steps they have every day. So for example, at the lowest level, you've got sedentary, where you're having less than 6,000 steps a day. And if you're not sure how many steps you're getting, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, there will be some application there which will essentially be monitoring your step count. So you can just log in and have a look. So number 2, you've got moderately active. And those are the guys who are between 6,000 and 10,000 steps a day. Then you've got active, which is basically between 8,000 and 15,000 steps a day. And then you've got very active, who are 15,000 plus steps every day. Now, according to a 2010 US study, the average number of steps per day for men was 5,340. And for women, it was 4,912, which is really interesting because it shows that most people are actually within the sedentary category. Now, there are various factors that actually impact your step count, but one of the most obvious things that you can think about is your occupation. What do you do for work? So at the top end, you have people like waiters who walk somewhere between on average, 22,000 steps per day. And at the lower end, you have call center associates, office workers, people who basically work behind the desk, who are getting on average closer to about 5,000 steps every day. So it's all well and good that I'm giving you these numbers and these statistics, but what can you actually do in terms of actionable steps to increase your step count? Well, say for example that you work an office job. An easy way to do it is, why don't you just, on your lunch break, say that I'm going to walk for at least 20 minutes to go and get my lunch, pick up a healthy lunch, walk back. That will just increase your step count. Or for example, if you can afford to not take a bus journey or a taxi, instead just walk some distance in the mornings to work or on your commute back from work, just to increase your daily step count. So what you want to aim for is somewhere at least between 8,000 to 10,000 steps at minimum. Obviously, the more you do, the better, but make sure that it's sustainable. Whatever you do, make sure you can incorporate it into your daily routine without having big fluctuations from day to day. So number 4, maintain a calorie deficit diet. So how does calorie deficit diet lead to weight loss? Now, if you're eating less calories than you need to maintain your weight, your body is in a sort of state of deficit where it needs other sources of energy to fuel itself. So what your body looks for is stored energy sources, which essentially is fat. So by sort of mobilizing those fat reserves, it helps you break down that fat and helps you lose weight in turn. So if all you need to do is eat less calories, why not just starve yourself? Well, there's a key difference between a calorie deficit diet and simply starving yourself. So a calorie deficit is a sustainable reduction in caloric intake to promote weight loss, while starving yourself is an extreme form of calorie restriction that can lead to malnutrition and health problems. So at what point does a calorie deficit turn into starvation? Well, that's usually when it's so large and so prolonged that it leads to nutritional deficiencies and a metabolic slowdown. So one of my clients was eating less than 1,000 calories a day, and they said they were not seeing any shift in their weight. And they said they felt tired, they felt low in mood, constantly irritable, and they were not able to focus at work. The issue was he was starving himself, and he'd been doing this for so long that his body had slowed down and it was not able to sort of maintain its normal functions. When we did some blood tests on him, we found that he was actually deficient in some B vitamins and folic acid as well. So he had starved himself to such an extent where he was not even getting enough nutrients to maintain his body's normal function, which again is starvation, and it's just not sustainable, and it's not going to benefit you in terms of losing weight. In fact, he was losing no weight whatsoever. So, it was purely just punishing himself. So, how many calories should you be aiming for to maintain a healthy calorie deficit? Now, there are lots of online tools you can use to calculate this. I've actually built a free app that you can download which has HIIT workouts and a calorie counter, and it will tell you how many calories you should be aiming for. So if you put in your details if you put in your details into the app, it will basically do the calculations for you and tell you how many calories you should be aiming for. But typically speaking, whatever your baseline is, which this app will calculate for you. If you don't want to use the app, there are lots of online calculators that will tell you. You put in some details and it will tell you how many calories you need to be aiming for. So once you know what your baseline calories should be, then what you do is you subtract between 250 to a maximum of 500 calories per day. Going less than 500 calories a day, in my opinion, from my experience, is not, number one, not sustainable. It's not healthy as well, especially if you're trying to exercise and remain active at the same time as well. Number 5, regular exercise. So this is the final, but perhaps, in my opinion, the most important aspect of sustainable weight loss. Now, if you did the previous 4 things that I mentioned and did those alone, you would lose weight. But if you want to ensure that you have sustainable weight loss, that you actually not only improve your weight, but also other metabolic and cardiovascular factors. So, for example, your cholesterol levels, your heart attack or heart disease risk, your stroke risk, your risk of having diabetes or pre-diabetes, and improving your metabolic age, improving the health of your bones and your muscles, then exercise is the single best thing that you can do. If there was one thing I could package in a pill and give it to my patients, it would be exercise. But unfortunately, I can't. And it's something that must be done by yourself, and you have to sort of, muster up the willpower to just do this regularly. So numerous studies have shown that exercise actually helps build healthy, strong bones and slows the rate of bone loss as you age. It helps regulate hormones, which helps with fertility related issues, and it improves your mood and your sleep as well. It has shown to be significantly more effective than medication in slowing and preventing the onset of dementia and slowing the rate of progression once it comes on. And the craziest thing is, it doesn't have any side effects. But when it comes to weight loss specifically, what kinds of exercises should you be doing? Now, you want to be doing a combination of HIIT training, cardiovascular exercise, and strength training as well. So a typical week might look like 3 days of HIIT training and 3 days of light cardiovascular exercise combined with strength training as well. So this will enable you to build lean muscle and preserve lean muscle as you're obviously in a calorie deficit and your body is trying to lose weight. But at the same time, you'll be able to maintain that muscle mass, if not increase it slightly. So keep the sessions between 35 and 40 minutes long at maximum, and make sure sustainability or consistency is the key focus. So you don't want to be doing it so hard one day where you can't do anything the next day. You want to be able to do a little bit every single day just to make sure that you build that sort of pattern and consistency into your routine. And always remember to focus on good form. So go slow and increase slow, but make sure the form is good, because you want to prevent injuries long term, because otherwise that will open a whole new set of problems and challenges when it comes to your weight loss journey as well. But if you do get injured, there are ways to recover as well. It's not the end of the world, but ideally prevention is better than cure. Now, if you're someone who's serious about leveling up your health and you've resonated with the previous things I've talked about and you want to incorporate them into your daily routine and lose weight, I've actually built a free app that you can download from the App Store. It's got HIIT workouts in it and a variety of levels. So if you're a beginner, you can start at level 1 and work your way to level 10. It's got core workouts as well. It also has a calorie counter and healthy recipes that you can incorporate into your diet to lose weight. So have a look at the link in the description below. You can download the app directly. It's completely free to use. I've just launched it perhaps maybe 2 weeks ago. If you've got any feedback for the app or any suggestions for improvement, you can drop a comment below as well. Now, if you're someone who's really struggling with weight loss and you're not too sure what you need to be doing, what exercises you need to be doing, what kinds of foods you should be eating, and you'd like to talk to me directly one-to-one, I am offering this to a handful of people completely free, where you can book a half an hour call with me and I will explore the different issues or the challenges that you are experiencing when it comes to your weight loss journey. I am offering this for a handful of people for a limited amount of time, probably the next sort of 1 month. If you are interested, there is a Google Forms link in the description below. Complete the form. At the end of the form, there is a Calendly link. Now you can book in a call with me, but make sure you submit the form as well. That's important because it's got information which I will need to try and help you when it comes to the call. So in summary, these are the 5 things that I'll be focusing on if I wanted to lose 10 kilograms in 6 months and keep off the weight for good. So not only that, if you stick to these 5 things consistently, it will not only benefit your weight and your physical appearance, but also things like your bone health, your cardiovascular health, your metabolic age, metabolic markers like cholesterol or sugar, blood sugar. So you can prevent health conditions before they even started. And also, if you are suffering from the early stages of some of these health conditions, it will help reverse those as well. I hope you found that useful. I'll be posting more content about how you can increase longevity, how you can build a strong, healthy body, and also more about the different exercises that you should be doing. So subscribe to this channel if you found that useful, and drop a like or a comment if you would like me to answer any specific questions.